Hello, everyone. We are going to be making some bad guys today. It's going to be our it's going to be our next topic. I don't know what I'm saying here. Sorry, folks. I'm kind of sick, as you might be able to tell from my voice. What I wanted to say was we got stuff happening. You can shoot bullets. You can move from room to room, or at least there's the illusion of moving from room to room, and that's good. That's good, but this game's pretty boring. You're just walking around in a bunch of empty rooms. It's not too exciting. So we're gonna add in some enemies. Don't have anything in particular to add in terms of exciting enemies, but I think what we'll do is we'll make a basic enemy that just kind of stands there and can get shot at and can die, and we'll make it so that we can put it into different rooms. That's going to be sort of the major achievement, so that if you want to put 5 bad guys in here and 3 bad guys in there, how would you go about doing that? And there's a lot of different ways, but I was chatting with my AP students about it, and actually in that conversation we came up with a pretty nice way to make it happen. So I'm excited to show that to you today. Here we go. So to start off with, maybe I'll start in the main tab. It's going to be a little uncomfortable for some of you to program the list first, but I just want to show you it's no big deal. We're going to make a list for all the enemies, just like we have a bullet list. We're going to have an enemies list, and I'm going to make an enemy class. And it doesn't exist yet, but do not despair. It is okay. We will simply go and make it soon. I'm going to call it enemy list because that's follows what we've been doing so far. We're going to have to instantiate it, just like we instantiate the bullet list. And at this point, I spelled list wrong. At this point, you would go ahead and you have to add in your enemies. There's a lot of different ways to do it. We're just going to manually build the positions of the enemies in the setup. But it could be loaded from a file. It could be based on your map. There's a number of different interesting things you could do with that. But I think we'll just manually put them in for today, and in maybe a future video we could look at how you could represent a level, the enemies positions in the level, like maybe the color of the pixels of the rooms, or a separate file that just describes the locations and what kinds of enemies are in each room. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now. Just going to check my volume. Yeah, it's working okay. I apologize if I'm a little quiet. Trying not to cough. So anyways, we got the list here. We're going to have to make it so that, this list is processed. That's in our play function. So if we go over to play, we got ourselves the play function. Here's where we manage our bullets. And so we're going to add in sort of a similar piece of code for our enemies. This isn't the final version of it. I just want everyone to be really clear. I'm going to build it now. I'm going to say I equals 0. I'm saying I equals 0 because I already used I. So I can't say int I equals 0 again because it's already been declared, but I could reuse I. Alternatively, you could say int j or some other letter and use that. But I'm just going to reset I to 0 and use I for everything. Anyways, I was saying that this code here we're typing in right now is going to change. So just get it down as you see. It's going to be exactly the same thing as a bullet list, but we have a little bit more work to do. So we are going to be going through the entire enemy list, and each time we're going to get an enemy out of the list. So we'll give that enemy a temporary name like E. And then if it's alive, although we're not going to use alive, we're going to use hit points. So we can just check if the hit points is greater than 0. Are you feeling a little bit weird about all these red lines? If you are, just have confidence that we are going to fix those things coming up. I think a lot of programmers, they feel like they have to do one thing or another. We're sort of starting from the top down level, and I think that's a good place to work from. So anyways, if the hit points are greater than 0, we will do the typical show and act function. And we'll move on to the next one. And if not, else, we will remove it from the list. Excuse me. Okay. So that's reasonable. We're going to come back and add in some stuff about, rooms into this code here coming up. So let's go ahead and make our enemies, and I think pretty much they're going to be similar to zombies from our Pew Pew game, so you can refer to that. And I'm not going to call it zombie on purpose. I'm going to be calling it a very generic term. And the reason is because this enemy, we are going to be using it as the foundations for other enemies. So instead of coding over and over again all of the X and Y and movement and collisions and all that stuff, we are going to simply extend this class and build upon it for future enemies. So maybe we'll make a zombie, or maybe we'll make a hobgoblin, or maybe we'll make a bandersnatch, or we'll make a something or other, but we'll use this class as a foundation. Hence why I'm keeping the name pretty generic. Oops, I should capitalize it. I think if I don't capitalize it, I'll have some problems. Hey, just even declaring that, and we'll settle down our red lines over here. So that's good. Okay, so what does an enemy have? Well, we'll start off with the fact that it needs to have an X and a Y. And it probably needs a VX and VY. And it probably needs a diameter. And we know that it needs hit points as well. That's based on an int, because you can't, well, I mean, I guess you could have half a hit point. That's up to you, I guess, how you want to do that. But I'm going to have just integer hit points. All right. And now I'm going to have a class, a constructor. And I really want to be able to tell this enemy where to go. I don't... Actually, do I care that much? I guess I don't care that much. I'll let the enemy just randomly position itself. I think that would be fine. So I'll just say x equals a random number between... I don't want it to show up on the walls, so I'll say like 100... and width minus 100. Oops. And then I'll say for y, same sort of thing. And the 100 is just because the walls are 100 thick, the illusionary walls that aren't really very good. And then there Vx and Vy, I'm just going to make 0 for this default bad guy. And D will be whatever you want it. 30, for example. Same size as my player. Okay. So there's our constructor. Those are sort of the starting values. They're just going to be randomly put out somewhere. It won't be moving. Oh, and we need hit points. 3 is good. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. Or not. Whatever. That's all good. Okay. So now we'll do the void show. And it's just going to draw an ellipse. I'll choose default fill green. And I'm going to draw an ellipse. Eventually we'll get in some nice pictures and stuff. But for now, this is fine. It might be nice to show the hit points, hey? That might be a cool thing to do. Is text align center on? It is. I'll fill with black, or white maybe might be nice. I don't know, it doesn't matter. HP, and I'll do it at X and Y. And we'll do text size. I think that might be too big, but we'll find out. It's going to write its hit points on its body like a tattoo, and I think that will be helpful for testing. And then the act function is really not going to do much, but it will check for collisions. So void act, theoretically we want it to move. So x equals x plus vx, and future versions of this monster might might have a Vx and Vy. And then we're also going to check collisions. And you could code that in right here, but I'm not. I'm actually going to make that a separate function. This isn't obvious why that's useful right now, but it will become apparent when we build enemies on top of this foundation. The deal is that when we make a zombie that will build on top of this enemy, or we build a, I don't know, whatever monster that is built on this foundation, we don't want to have to rewrite the collision code over and over again. So if we build into a separate function, we'll just be able to use that function. So I'm going to do check collisions function. Collisions. And it's not declared yet, so I'll go ahead and make it. Void check collisions. Yeah, here we go. This is going to be the function. I mean, it's just being called here, so whatever this code is that we put here could have just gone here. But this sets us up so that anything built upon this foundation will get this function too. So it's just going to be a matter of doing that good old dist function, checking the distance between the centers of the two circles, and comparing it to their radii. I bet you know how to do that. If you've been watching, we've been doing it quite a bit. So I'll just go ahead and put it in right now. Oh, wait. There is a problem, though. What are we checking the distance between? I just said, hey, you guys should know. I guess there is a problem. We do have to check if we're colliding with bullets. And bullets, there might be a lot of bullets. So we have to make a loop. So we're doing that right now. We're going to loop through all the bullets. So I less than bullet list dot size bullet b equals bullet list dot get I, and then we can check the collision with this particular bullet and then move on to the next bullet. So we can say if the distance between the bullet's x and the bullet's y and my x and my y, or my enemy's x and y, is less than the sum of the radii, so b dot d divided by 2 plus d divided by 2. There you go. There's our collision detection. So what do we say here? Well, I guess our hit points will go down by 1, HP minus minus, or HP equals HP minus 1, whatever you want to do. We could kill the bullet, so your b dot alive equals false. And I think we got to do one last thing. After the if statement, we should go to the next bullet in the bullet list, so I plus plus. Excuse me. So that's all fine and dandy, and we'll see if that works. Okay, I'm going to save it. I believe, with all this stuff here, it should work out okay. In the play function, it should go through and tell them all to show and act and that kind of stuff. We just need to add in an enemy. So I'm going to do an enemy. Yeah, that's right. Actually, this is the right place. In your setup, you can go add an enemy. Enemy list dot add new enemy. All right, let's run it. Let's see how this looks. Here's our enemy. Where are you at? There he is. And it's got the hit points written, so if I line up a shot, take a shot, pew! Oh, it went down to 2. Oh, awkward stroke. I'll have to fix that. And 1, and then if I shoot it, it should die. Yeah, it died. Oh yeah, party party. But guess what? There is a problem with this. Watch this problem. Our enemy is going to be in this room, right up there. But if I walk over to this room, it's still there. That's really breaking our illusion, right? So in our next video, we'll take a look at how do we get enemies so that so that they're anchored to a particular room. And when you go from one room to the next, they are only in the room that they're supposed to be in. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Stay tuned. I'm going to record the next one.